Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. We have a full house today. I'm your host Ashwin. Varun's in Singapore, DJ's in London. I don't even know how to start this episode. To be honest, for our listeners, we normally chat a little bit between the three of us for about 5-6 minutes, debrief on what's happening on the week's action in world cricket, and then we click the record button. And DJ, you sent out topics and an agenda, and it goes through the toss and the team and the batting and this and that. But I kind of just want to start with how everybody's feeling, right? Because it's just been that kind of a day. And Varun, I'm going to come to you first. There's something about the cocktail of pain with immense pride and sort of you expected this to happen, but you hoped it didn't. And I don't know how to describe the combination of all those feelings. So do you want to try?
I mean, look, I'll try, but I feel like I'm hurting the least out of all three of us and out of all of my individual friends and groups that I have. Um, not that, not that I'm not sad. It's just that how many times have we done this? Like, has it been 9 times or 8 times since 2014? I think it's been 6 times since we started the podcast. And yes, everyone is saying it was different this time. I get it. It the dominance was, I mean, the net run rate that we ended up on was way higher than we did in the past. So I get it, I do, but they just they played very well, and the result was the same. And we'll unpack it. We'll unpack it. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I understand why everyone's so upset because it just felt like this was ours. Like there was no debate about this. People like the kind of stuff I saw on social media before the game. I was like, why are you guys doing this? This is like the ultimate jinx. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. DJ, let me come to you because Varun chose to start at 2014, right? But if you started it at, I don't know, 2006, right? '07 was this revelation because it was a surprise. Because nobody expected Joginder Sharma and all the craziness there. 11, we all had hope, but somehow still not exactly expectation. And so, what was it about this year that changed that hope into to expectation?
First of all, I just want to acknowledge that it was a great campaign. There's always hope as an Indian fan, and I think you can clearly divide the reactions over possibly three generations. I'd say so. There's the Gavaskar generation, which basically lost everything and is super cynical, and everything is fixed. Then there's a Sachin generation, which is probably us, where you started to believe, but you were still underdogs. And then there's the Virat generation where you expect to win, and anything less than that is just not satisfactory. Now, I think we are probably slightly better equipped to deal with these disappointments than the Virat generation, because if you've grown up watching MS Dhoni lift ICC trophies, you think this is your birthright, right? So this was a celebration and a culmination of that. And anybody who's watching on YouTube, we're wearing our India jerseys because I think we want to make the point that we like to stick by this team in thick and in thin. No pun intended to Rohit or Virat. But I mean, it's been. I don't know why we still hurt though. Why does it hurt? And I know we've got lots of messages this morning saying yours is the only podcast that I listened to after yesterday, which is kind of nice. But I mean, it makes us the agony uncles of the cricketing world a little bit, doesn't it? So yeah, I mean, it feels different this time because it was 10 on the bounce. It was complete domination. It was all set up for it. It was at home. It was 120,000 people supposedly. It was only 90 that showed up. I don't know why. Um, the prime ministers were there. I mean, man for man, we're a better team than the team that won, and that's why it hurt so much.
Yeah, and I guess Varun, we haven't really been able to say that all that often, right? Maybe I like the way DJ summarized it. Maybe the Kohli generation has been able to say it, but in our lifetime, more often than not, it's been we've been the underdogs. 2003 final, we were the underdogs, and so it's hard. It's easy to look back, and I will say for our listeners, I know a lot of people are waking up the next morning saying, time is supposed to heal and it still hurts as much. And I say, give yourself more than a day. Time will heal. But also, I almost didn't want to do this episode, right? I messaged you guys on WhatsApp saying, I don't think I have the strength to get on and talk about it and talk about, did Ayer play at a ball he shouldn't have and this and that? And we'll get to it. But I think it's important we get here. Varun, let me just ask you then, right? How do you, obviously lifting the trophy is important. Obviously it is, right? But if somebody could have told you 6.5 weeks ago, and by the way, sorry, I'll go one more tangent. A lot of people who are upset are people who didn't watch the 6.5 week campaign, right? And that's fair. We need those fans. They tune in for the final. They say, what is this crap? They couldn't kind of lift the trophy again, and it's fine. For those of us who watched all 10 games and then the final, it feels different to look at the top run scorer list and see number 1, 2, 7, 8, all from India, right? You look at and I'm Kohli, Rohit, Rahul, and Iyer. Look at the bowlers list and see number 1, number 4, number 8, and 15, all from India. So I guess my long question to you is, Varun, is it harder because there's nobody really to criticize?
Yeah, I think that's what I have been struggling with since yesterday, because I have had a theory of the middle order not getting enough game time in the past, and that's not true. I've had theory of 15 for 3, and Rohit made sure that was not true either. So I think
Just 47 for 3 this time.
yeah, but I think I was just, was it 47 for 3? Didn't he
No,
just make
Australia was 47
Yeah.
for 3.
So I think the biggest challenge is one doesn't know what to criticize, one doesn't know what to change, one doesn't know where it went wrong. And I think that's where we haven't said this yet, but you got to give credit to Australia. Like, you just have to know that Australia shows up, they know how to win. They have won 6 ODI World Cups, out of which only one was at home.
Yeah, 6
And I read
men's. Then you start adding
men's,
all the women's
I'm not even talking about
trophies.
T20 and this,
Yeah.
and only one was at home. And I read a great quote today that said, India has put its best team forward to Australia in 2023. Pakistan did the same in 99. Sri Lanka in 2007. New Zealand in 2015. You put your best teams against Australia and they still beat you. So there is something about that, man. It's something that goes beyond just winning the toss and batting first or
But
bowling
the
first.
difference here also, Ashwin, and we talked 2003 in great detail in the preview, is that was a team of greats. It was a team of undisputed greats like Ricky Ponting, Damien Martin. When you get beaten by them, you get it, right? You Hayden, Gilchrist, you get it. Here you had the World Test Championship. Look at what Australia have won in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's
2015
ridiculous.
World
Yeah.
Cup. 2015 World Cup. They've won the 2020
T20.
2020 or 2021 T20 World Cup. They
Yeah.
won the World Test Championship final. They've now won the ODI World Cup. This is only since 2015. This is in the last 8 years. I mean, they are on paper almost even better than the greatest of the Australian sides. And I didn't have them in my semi-final lineup, Ashwin. Varun, I don't know whether you had them,
I
but
think we
Yeah.
both did.
it is incredible. But they come in as underdogs. It's the personality of the captain is one of a toned down kind of like Captain Planet is what they call him, for which is pretty funny because he's talked about climate change, which apparently is unreal for a lot of people, but okay, fine. uh, but they've just won everything. They hold the World Test Championship trophy at the moment. They were the previous winners of the T20 World Cup. They've now got the ODI World Cup. This is a golden generation of Australian cricketers.
Yeah, I mean, you can't disagree with that, right? As you think about it and you list the greats, and that's sort of arguably the difference that Australia brought this campaign is that nobody's, other than Warner, nobody's really on the top 5 or 6 run scorers, but everybody showed up when they needed to. Maxwell batted on no legs. Travis Head was injured for the first little bit, ended with 2 centuries. Mitchell Marsh made 177 or something when he needed to. So everybody showed up when they needed to, and their bowlers showed up on the day of the final, right, Varun?
Yeah, no, in fact, somebody, yesterday asked a question that why doesn't Australia have 45 minutes of bad cricket, right? And my friend Yogi actually replied saying they did. They did have 45 minutes of bad cricket. They were on the ground. They stood up on one leg and hit 201.
Yeah.
And that's how they got over 45 minutes of bad cricket. And that was like, that blew my mind.
And they had 45 minutes of bad cricket in the final as well. It was
Yeah.
47 for 3.
Yeah, you don't
Right.
let that define your entire campaign, your entire match. Heck, you don't even let it define a period of 30 overs.
But the other thing is that we were beaten on the day by the better team. We will come to whether that is a fair result or not. That's okay. But on the day, India wasn't in the contest.
No,
Really,
it,
maybe for the
it is a
first 10
fair
over.
result. Let me just stop you there. It is a fair result.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
I think
we'll-
the argument is more like if you've won 10 games and they've won 9, and is there more merit? We've talked about this a little, but that's what knockout formats
but,
are.
But
otherwise
also
you
They're
become
unfair.
an
They're
EPL.
objectively
Yeah.
unfair too,
Yeah.
which is fine.
both finalists have beaten everybody else in the tournament. That's a great stat
Yeah.
if you think about
Yeah.
it.
That's a
Yeah.
great
Because
start.
Australia beat the two teams
Yeah.
that beat them
Yeah.
in the league
Yeah.
stage
Yeah.
to win the
And
trophy.
that's
So
when you talk about momentum, you talk about peaking early. All of us, look, none of us said it, but if you guys weren't worried about peaking early, I mean, you are lying, right? It is something we all have worried about in 2015 and 2019, and more more so in 2023. Like, I was worried about it.
But after 10 in a row, do you still say peaking early? Like after we were 5 in a row, I said that. I was said that on this show. There's probably a record of it. After 6, even after 7, by the time you get to 10, I don't think we lost yesterday because we peaked too early.
Yeah,
Is that Varun?
I don't think we've
okay.
lost because we peaked too early, but I think Australia carried momentum and peaked at the right time. And that's what DJ is alluding to by saying they beat the two teams that beat them
Yeah.
in the
they lost the
semis
first two
and the
games and won
finals.
everything else.
And so
Everything else.
they struggled. But what I'm saying is they found a way to dig deep, they find a way to recover from situations, and they just kept getting better. Pat Cummins said, "We haven't played our best day of cricket the day before the final."
Yeah. And they did.
And they had a perfect day on the final. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
India had a bad day. Everything that could go in Australia's favor went in their favor.
Yeah.
I don't think India played badly. Australia played great. They had the luck, they had the DRS, they had the catching, they had the will. The question they were asking is who wanted it more, right? That's what Pat Cummins said. If we silence the crowd, can we do that first? There's so much to talk about, man.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
we should get into
let's
the game.
let's get
This
into
is-
it. Varun, let's start with you then. The toss and the team, right? So Rohit said I would have batted first. Pat Cummins obviously chose to chase. I don't know how much the toss really defines. We talked about it. DJ and I talked about it in the preview, saying you got to chase under lights in Ahmedabad. You just have to. That's how everybody else won except for one result. And then the team selection. We talked a lot about choosing to play Siraj and sticking to the 11 versus against. In hindsight, you think Travis Head, lefty opener against Ash, may have struggled more, but it's easy to do that in hindsight. Varun, what's your thoughts on the toss and the team?
Yeah, so in high, I didn't think the toss was going to be so important till we got to like 15-20 overs, and that's when it hit me that this toss was crucial. So I think they made the right call. They had luck on their side, all of that, yes, but they made the right call. I think, to me, a lot of times when somebody like Rohit says I would have batted first anyway, I think that's just mind games. I don't think there's any way India would have batted first. Maybe given their record of chasing and the 15 for 3 sagas that we know, there is a possibility that it may have happened, because sometimes you have to play to your own strength as well. But they all knew about the due. They all knew this is a crunch game. So that toss was crucial. The team, man, they were always going to play the same team. So I think there was chat about Ashwin. I think it would have been very interesting. I do think Siraj was not as strong as a lot of people expected him to be. I think he fizzled. That Sri Lanka game comes to mind. But apart from that, I don't think he was where we or he himself expected Siraj to be. But they were always going to play the same team.
And let me just ask you
But
then, before I come to DJ and come to about the batting. Siraj has been a reasonable threat all through this tournament. He's had a couple of bad games, but as a new ball bowler, he has only been a new ball bowler.
Yeah.
Right? Rohit made the choice and you can sit here and say Warner got out on Shami's first legal delivery after the wide, but Rohit made the choice to switch. What was your read on that, Varun, versus
Yeah, I
sticking to the
was
plan?
not that happy with that because if we know he's not as lethal with a first change older ball, then Rohit for sure knows that, right? So if you've picked him for his new ball bowling ability, you should have stuck with that, especially when you've got Bumrah at the other end. That was just my gut feel, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I understand Shami's been good against lefties, but if you're picking an opening bowler to be good against lefties, why do you stick to the same 11? It just feels like there's some flaw in the logic of persisting because it's what's worked for you, but then not persisting with the approach.
Yeah, it's worked for you in 10 games. It's worked for you in the Asia Cup.
Yeah.
He is at his most lethal with the new ball. It's the sole reason why he's in the side.
Yeah.
It is literally the only reason. It's power play wickets. He can swing the ball. It's prodigious swing that we saw. Bumrah couldn't control it. Shami couldn't control it at times. That was the moment for Siraj to step up and shine. And I think tactically, it was a mistake. We can look back now and we know it's probably a mistake. It felt a little bit desperate at the time as well. Shami has been most effective with the slightly older ball where there's a little bit less upright seam. He actually gets quite a lot of movement anyway. So he was getting exaggerated movement. Siraj cuts the ball across as well. The left hander, he would have been fine, but he was completely useless with the old ball. You saw what he did. He couldn't. He got nothing with the old ball, right? And so it negated one of India's five specialist bowlers. But this is a tactical risk. He took it. It sort of came off, I guess. I mean, Head could have nicked one of Shami and we could have been sitting here going, man, that was a master stroke. But it basically negated one of
Sure.
India's bowlers and his strength. So,
Yeah. So let's quickly talk about India's batting then, right? Rohit got off to the flyer we expected. His fourth score, I think, this tournament in the 40s. And I have a separate discussion maybe for 2 weeks from now after we come back about just kind of the role Rohit played because I was hoping he would get off to the start and then try to grind it out and again get a daddy 100.
Yeah, so
Shubman,
just
go ahead.
on that, that's an interesting point, right? Because you and I think like that, but DJ just says this is the way he plays, and
This is the way, yeah,
both are nobody's wrong. It's just
it's just
like
an approach.
he
For
just
me,
evolved to become like a Sehwag. A lot of people
yeah,
said like Sachin, but I see it as Sehwag.
it is much more like 7. For me, when Gale got out, right, Stark bowls that ball, it doesn't like it feels like it takes forever to get to him, and he still hits it early. And it goes, he gets caught by Zampa at mid wicket. That's when you realize how slow the pitch is. For me, right, you'd seen it a little, but that's when you realize how the ball is not coming onto the bat, and Rohit is making it look easier than it actually was, and that's Rohit's genius. At that point, DJ, he hits a 6, he hits a 4, and then comes down the track and top edges it. And a moment of genius, which is what it takes in knockout finals, a moment of genius from Travis Head as he runs full speed. I mean, those who've played cricket know how hard it is to run backwards, sort of running backwards, sideways, slide, grab it, and pouch it. Was that really necessary from the skipper in that moment, or are you comfortable, DJ, with saying that's how he plays?
say I'm okay with that. He's gone 4-6. It's his role. You're at that point, you find you're one wicket down. You're going at at a good rate of not sure about 70 odd on the board, right? You're one wicket down and Maxi is bowling. I mean, like he's
Yeah.
it's the same argument you could have later on, which was being raised by the commentators. Why aren't we attacking the part timers more?
Hmm.
Rohit's just going after the. He knows we need to get 300 plus to make this game safe, and for him, the best chance of doing that is to go after the likes of Maxi, who are part time, well, not part time, but like non primary bowlers. And I mean, it was a I mean, Travis Head had a blinder of a game, which is what I was trying to get at. When you win the toss, you take a catch like that, which is it's. I mean, we've talked about the Kapil Dev catch in 1983, right? And it's a. I don't know whether Australia will ever make a movie about this triumph, but I mean, running backwards, you've
If
got
they
the
if they do, by the way, at the next finals they host, will they bring the actor instead of the actual captain to come sit and watch?
I don't know, man. Like that's different. They
You think that was
gave
a
the wrong
mistake that
couple. They
Ranveer
invite.
I
that
think they could
Ranveer got?
with the number of trophies they can just have an OTT series like rather than one movie
Yeah,
dedicated to one.
yeah. But this was like it was an incredible catch, full stretch, running to his wrong side. Remember, he bats left-handed, but he bowls and throws right-handed. So he's taken that to his left. He's gone full stretch over his shoulder. He knows the importance of the catch. The ball's probably swirling because it's off a spinner as well. And that was the game changer, because if Rohit stuck around for another 15 overs, that's the game done. Rohit's got more than 100. Kohli settles in. Iyer plays his knock. It's a different vibe altogether, Ashwin. And I mean, that game, that showed how badly they wanted it. They stopped force to start off with 37-year-old Warner screaming around the boundary, stopping everything. They stopped everything. And you saw the change in their body language from the semis. The first two games they lost, they dropped like even the simplest catches. And
Yeah.
they just lifted themselves when it mattered.
And I think that's the
And
stuff
it
that
was
I think the
incredible.
fielding what you mentioned also matters sort of equal parts, right? So have to give full credit there. Varun, let's kind of move into the rest of the batting, if you will, right? So Gill got out, Iyer got out, disappointing, back to back centuries, though. Do you hold that you hold it against him? Of course you want him to show up on the big occasion. Kohli played a Kohli knock, and then talk to me about that Kohli Rahul partnership, if you will, right? They went I guess it made 60 odd runs in almost 20 overs, right? I was watching it live, and maybe because it was 4 in the morning for me, and I'd been awake since 2 and out of excitement. But it felt like Rahul was playing the way they needed the team to, knowing that we don't have the batting depth. In hindsight, a lot of criticism that he didn't attack the part timers, etc. What was your read of the situation during this partnership and now?
So I think there was a phase where the way they were playing, it was needed. And I can't recall exactly which over. Let's say that you said they batted for about 20 overs, right?
Yeah, 18 point
Yeah.
something.
So I would say about 9 overs, 10 overs, 11. I think they batted really well to salvage the situation. After that, what happened and what they both probably realize now in hindsight is that they sucked the momentum out of the game, because you've been going at 3 runs an over for 18 overs. There was no boundary hit for 97 balls, and then after that for 73 balls or something ridiculous like that. Because I remember calculating the number of balls total.
Yeah.
It they played very well for that period, and then one of them had to accelerate or get things moving, and they just couldn't. And that's where I think the criticism comes, but not too much criticism,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
they lost the momentum, man. There was nothing in the game after that.
And I think actually that's what one of the comms said on TV is Marnus batted like Rahul did. He
Yeah.
basically did. But it was very clear that Travis was the accelerator in that situation. Usually, Virat is the consolidator. And the difference, by the way, this is a tangent, but what makes Virat the great that he is that even on a slow wicket, even on tough conditions, he gets that freaking single. He can get it. Rahul's struggle was not that he was batting badly. No, I don't care that he didn't get a boundary for 90 balls. You have to get that single. And
And
Australia
doubles,
did it.
And
yeah.
Kohli went out to run a ball
Yeah.
throughout that partnership.
Yeah.
I don't know what the breakup is, but I'm pretty sure that he
Yeah.
went at a run a ball or just under throughout that partnership. So he was turning the strike over, but he wasn't getting it back.
Yeah.
And I mean, the number of boundaries and all, it's fine. I
It,
think we were all in agreement because of the team composition. They needed to play
Yeah.
like
yeah,
We didn't
they
have the depth.
did, but what they also did was they signaled to Jadeja and Sky that this is a very hard pitch.
Mm.
And so these two guys are sitting in the dugout going, "Oh my God, Rahul is not able to hit a part-timer. I need to be even more cautious when I go out there." And I think that's what I mean by sucking the momentum out. You
Yeah.
signal to your next two guys that there's nothing in this pitch for us.
Yeah. So then let's quickly wrap up the batting, DJ. Jadeja, couldn't really get any runs, right? And then got out. All of these guys got out, but got behind, by the way. And then Sky first. I mean, Sky played like somebody who does not know how to bat with tailenders. And we can talk separately. Now it doesn't feel like the time for me to layer on the fact that I've said I don't think he belongs in the ODI side. You guys make fun of me for that when he plays well once every 8 innings or something, but I don't think he's an ODI player. But he very clearly showed I don't know how to bat with tailenders, right? Repeatedly, first ball single. Last again with Kuldeep, last ball he let Kuldeep take a single. He just he wasn't he just wasn't batting like you're supposed to bat with tailenders. And that could have been 25 more runs. Would we have gotten to 290? No. We could have gotten to 260, 265 at one point. That may have mattered. DJ, what's your take on how Sky approached the overall knock?
So there's two things. One, I think the pitch was actually, it was quite slow. That doesn't help stroke makers.
Sure.
They were, and Australia bowled really well. Australia dug the ball in. They were bowling cutters. They were nipping the ball off the seam. So they bowled well. Like the likes of Rahul got out nicking the ball to the keeper, which is like odd on a slow pitch, but they bowled well. With Sky, so I don't have so much of a problem with him batting with the tail, to be honest. It was there was a lot of time left in the innings when he got together with the tail, quote unquote, which started at number 8, right? Which is part of the problem
Hmm.
with Shami. And so if he started turning down singles at that point or farming the strike at that point, I don't know whether we would have got to 240. But I mean, who knows what would have happened. The issue with it was when he had to go, he couldn't switch
Yeah.
gears. He
Yeah.
just couldn't get the ball off the square. It seemed like he only had that one shot behind. And this is what I talked about
And
Sky.
the
Even in
genius,
T20,
did
he
you see
gets
the
obsessed.
but did you see the field placements for him? They
Yeah,
took off
when he went
all the
over.
pace and they basically had their third man
Yeah,
almost at
yeah.
whatever 90 degree, like
And,
perfectly fine.
and this is when I'd said even Sky, when he was in bad form in T20 cricket, he gets obsessed with hitting those shots, 360 shots behind the pitch. He needs to start hitting in front, come down the track, flat bat it over, long on, long off. He needs to find different areas to score. When he's batting well, he does it anyway.
Yeah.
But it seemed like he went into, instead of being a 360 player, he went into being a 180 player, and all of it was behind the pitch. Yes, maybe some of it was because of the bowling, some of it is because of the pitch, but you need to be able to find your range. And this was his moment to stand up. Another 30 runs, I don't know, pressure's
Yeah.
different, right?
Yeah.
30 runs would have made two, and we talked 280 was for me a winning score in a final.
Yeah, you had 20 to 20, 30 for the pressure of a final,
Yeah.
and especially once you're 47 for 3, it looks daunting.
So Sky failed in his job. I agree with that. And you are going to come good only once in 5 times when you bat 6, 7, unless you're MS
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know if that's true, and I don't know if that's a good makes you good enough
or
to play
Bevan.
for
Yeah.
one of the best
Yeah,
sides in the world, right? So
yeah. So you need a finisher, right? And that's what we lacked. We didn't
yeah,
have a finisher. We had a
yeah.
T20 great, but he bats up the order there.
So I want to ask. Let's quickly talk the bowling innings or Australia's batting because there's really not a lot to say, right? 47 for 3, pretty good start, and then Travis had just took the match away from us. Varun, if you look back, is there anything you wish we had done differently? There are people who are saying we should have choked the singles and just brought in the field a little, made them try to hit and let them get some boundaries. But in hindsight, we may have been annoyed if Rohit let them get a lot of boundaries in the quest for stopping singles. We didn't really change our bowlers much. We didn't try a sixth bowler. We didn't. Yeah. So is there anything you wish we had done differently? Should we have brought Bumrah back sooner? It felt like our shoulders dropped earlier than they should have. And that to me was the only thing that was disappointing more than the cricketing performance or anything. It just felt like we thought we had lost it at about 130, 140 runs.
Yeah, we did. And I was getting these images, and DJ, you'll remember it better than me, of our England and Pakistan losses in the last 4 years, I would say, where we've lost by like 10 wickets.
Yeah.
And when
And the
they,
guys are like
exactly what
10
Ashwin
legs
said, that
in.
when they got to like 130, 140, the body language was exactly the same. And I was just like, guys, come on, you've got 3 wickets. The pitch is not that easy. You can fight. Like, I know this game is a bit out of reach, but you got to fight. And it was the same body language when we lost by 10 wickets. So I don't think there was anything they could have done differently. Siraj up front, Shami, first change gives you a little bit more depth into the innings of your top 3 bowlers. I think, I don't know, man. Like, I want to know your guys' view on this. Is like Kuldeep and Jadeja didn't look like a threat at all. I mean, at some point, Jadeja's got to stop just saving us points for over 8.
Yeah.
And Kuldeep, man, look, he was good throughout the tournament. I can't remember which games he was good in, but I know he was. Um, but just didn't look threatening on this pitch.
Gave nothing.
I don't know.
There was nothing, right? There was nothing from Kuldeep or Jadeja. The bowlers just, and we can discuss the conditions till the cows come home and all that stuff. DJ, unbelievable from Travis Head. Full credit. Will save. He's gotten all the appreciation.
Ugly but effective, I think we should say.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
wasn't like a
Absolutely.
aesthetically pleasing
Incredibly
innings, but
effective.
bloody effective, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Bloody effective.
yeah, left-handed openers defeating left-handed Aussie openers defeating India is just a tale we're all too familiar with. Let me ask you. I have to ask this, and I apologize to any of our listeners for who this is contentious, but I have to ask you about the crowd. Right? You and I chatted in the preview and released the clip even of us saying, It doesn't matter if you're loud when Rohit hits a 6 and a 4 back to back. It doesn't matter if you're loud when Bumrah uproots the stumps or bowls a beauty. What matters is being that 12th man when the team needs you. And I don't think it happened, to be honest, right? Like I don't think there's any debate or argument or anything like that. But I don't know. There's a part of me that says the Edens, the Wankedes, the Chepoks that have a legacy and a history of hosting big cricket games, test cricket, big matches, may have brought a different kind of energy versus, yes, there was 120,000. Yes, it's the newest, it's the fanciest dome, but there was no energy from the crowd when the team needed the most. Did you feel that, or am I projecting a little bit?
I think the silence was deafening, right?
Yeah.
At times. It
And
was
Cummins said that
deafening,
too,
and
by the way. He made a
it was a
point to say that.
who did?
Cummins, and he said there was 120,000 people. Thankfully, they weren't too loud.
Yeah, and they didn't applaud Travis Head's 100, which I thought was a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, even when we were being thrashed at the 1K day, Daryl Mitchell, when he got his 100, people clapped. And that's fair, right? Maybe there was a bit of shock. Maybe there was a bit of like everybody was taken aback. But that is we didn't feel like we were playing at home. But part of the joy of playing at home is the crowd that gets behind you. And it can't only be when you're doing well. You need the crowd to lift you when you're doing badly. The bowler needs that extra amount of zip. Bumrah bowled his heart out. He was unlucky not to get Marnus on that DRS. You were talking about Rohit Sharma's captaincy. I thought we lacked ideas on how to get wickets. We didn't have slips in. I mean, you're not going to restrict them to 240. So I think we've missed tricks, but you can't blame the crowd alone. They were shell shocked, right? Like you've got a
Yeah,
guy just flicking
certainly not
Bumrah, hitting
alone, but
people
yeah.
for 6. It was like it was disappointing. They didn't really stick around for the presentation either, which was a bit of a farce as well because Pat Cummins was left by himself.
I mean, the
I
presentation.
wonder if that's got to do with all the videos of Sharad Pawar. I think it was it in 2003 or 2007 where he just didn't leave the stage, and the whole
Yeah,
Aussie
they
team had
pushed him
to.
off.
I'm pretty sure that was a factor in this, but
So
yeah,
Modi
he
gave the
was.
trophy and walked off, and Pat
Yeah,
was standing
but
there like,
it
where's
was
my
very
team,
awkward.
guys?
But
Yeah, and honestly, I think
Yeah.
to the point, Varun, you were making earlier, I think the whole trophy ceremony and the fireworks, everything was designed on the assumption India would win. And so, yeah. So, congratulations to Team Australia. Worthy champions. I mean, you can argue that we were better across the course of the tournament, but they were better on the day, and that's the point of knockout cricket.
Yeah, and they won 9 on the trot. We won
Yeah.
10 on the trot.
Yeah.
Fair
Yours-
result. I mean, in a bilateral series, it would have been 1-1, and we would have won the third game, and everybody would have got the Paytm trophy.
For
yeah,
sure, we would
because
have won
the
the
thing is,
Paytm.
bilateral would have definitely won, and that's how this podcast is surviving. Because if we started
So-
losing bilateral series, I
we're
don't
in
think
trouble.
the three of us would be doing this anymore.
No, but the question is, would we have batted like we did, guys? And I'm actually asking a serious question. Would we have batted like we did in the final of the World Cup if this was a Paytm or a Mastercard trophy or whatever? No, seriously, down. You've got off at 8 runs and over. Did we bottle it with the bat?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I think
we did.
Yeah, I think everything we were worried about having the short batting lineup just didn't come true for 10 games, and it came true in the 11th.
So, what did we say at the start of this tournament in the preview? How is India going to lose? How will we be beaten?
Early.
The pressure of the knockout
Yeah, early.
will just get to us, and it did.
And quick wickets.
Because we played differently.
Which is why I'm trying to say, like, we did play differently throughout, but which is why I'm trying to say that for everyone who's so shell shocked, this has happened way too many times.
Yeah.
It has just happened way too many times. This was a 300 wicket, add 15 to 20 for the pressure of a knockout. They should have been, virtually chasing 315.
Ashwin, what was our score at the 30 over mark? Tell us.
Yeah, I
Must
think
have
we
been
were 150, right?
Yeah.
So I like, seriously, I was talking about doubling,
It's
but
proved.
yeah, absolutely. And DJ,
But he
who
didn't
said
have the batting for it.
he just didn't. Yeah, it's different once you're 4 down, right? DJ, when you asked it in the preview episode, how's the way we lose this match, and what did I say? I said Travis Head.
That's unbelievable,
Right?
actually.
That's the only we knew it. Warner was going to get out to Shami. We knew that the rest of the guys hadn't really stood up. The only way we were going to lose this match was Travis Head, and it happened. And yes, Stark and all that stuff.
So
All right.
I
So
have,
we've got it out of our system right now, but we're still proud of the team, and I think we should make that point as well. We should be positive about this.
yeah,
Like,
but we have been proud for
We
the last
absolutely
10
are.
years. So don't that, which is what I'm trying to say. I don't know why we're not seeing this. We have been proud. We will still follow them. On Thursday this week, India Australia T20 start.
Who's
where
going to play? Who's going to watch that?
Ruturaj versus maybe Mitchell Marsh's third cousin or something. They are
How many
going to
more
be
marches are there to
they
play?
are going to be playing, and we are going to be watching that, and we are going to be cheering for them. So
And
it's
we're
got
going to win it
nothing to do
5-0 or
with
something
Rahul
and say this is our
Dravid has
result.
never won a trophy. Do we
Yeah.
think less of him? No. One of my favorite cricketers, Callis, has never won a trophy. Do we think less of him?
South
No.
Africa has never really won
South
a
Africa
trophy,
peak
so
team, of course. I'm just saying, even like
De
just take
Villiers.
out like Callis and like they haven't won. Doesn't mean you're not proud of them. It
So,
just
no, yeah, but we should talk about what's coming as well
Yeah.
for the big guns.
So the question is, where
We
do we
have
go
to.
from here? Right? And where did you think about it? 2027 ODI World Cup. Rohit will be 40 years old. Virat will be 39. Virat at 39 could be fitter than most of us at 21. So maybe that's a different question.
But Rohit is not. Like when Gill was
But
taking
Rohit is not.
doubles,
Yeah.
the first 5 overs, Rohit was really struggling.
So Varun, what do you do if you're Rohit from here? You're currently captain. You're currently all format captain, minus
I
the
mean,
T20s that he doesn't play. What do you do from here?
just stay on as test captain. There's no. I don't think there's ODIs. In fact, I read somewhere that they're even thinking of changing the Champions Trophy to a T20. I
So
think
do you?
without getting into, I don't know how successful this World Cup has been ODI, but I think
Yeah.
Rohit just steps down and stops, man. Like just focus on test. Like you've got another ICC Test Championship coming up, and focus on that. Like I don't see a world in which he's going to play limited overs.
Yeah, so in December, actually, when you and I will be together, they play some ODIs against South Africa before the test. Now, we're mostly looking forward to the test, but does Rohit step down before then? And what happens? Do you cause a leadership void? Does he give it some time? Is it Bumrah? Is it Gill? Is it where does this go from?
Yeah,
here, right?
the obvious answer was Pandya, right? But you're worried that he
Yeah.
may not even get through a bilateral series.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna have, and I do think Gill is,
Next,
but next with a 2 year.
as in next after the whoever comes.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
a 2 year stopgap. Test, there's no change. I think Pandya or here. So this is what a lot of people are saying. Rahul, right? Rahul has not done anything wrong. So and he arguably is the fittest out of Bumrah and Pandya.
DJ just wants another keeper captain.
Yeah, why not? But
Rahul
yeah,
finishes
so
off in style.
but yeah, Rahul. I think Rahul is a candidate. I think Pandya is a candidate, but I think there's 2 years before Gill, and I don't think Bumrah with his, um, stress and workload and injury is going to be is probably should not be the captain. But I just want to say two quick things before if you have other things, right? One, man, this team went through a lot from the day one, from Gill having dengue to Pandya's injury, to Shami, the most premier bowler, being left out of the playing 11. Ashwin I don't think he got a game. So
One game, Chennai.
one game. So this team has also been through a lot from day one and they came out, which is why we should be proud.
No Rishabh Pant.
Yeah, Rishabh Pant, arguably, I don't know if he would have played in ODIs, but yes, they went through a lot. Rahul was injured this whole year. Iyer was injured this whole year. They both came good, and the number 4 and number 5 questions that we hadn't solved since 2011 was solved. There was no problem there. Your Bumrah was injured. Kuldeep has been low on confidence. Everything was okay. It was just this like one bad day. So that was one thing. The other thing I wanted to ask you guys is, because I generally had this as a question, can you think of one or two Australian cricketers in the last like 20 years who have not won a World Cup, and how horrible it would be if you were one of those players? Or not a World Cup, let's say an ICC. Can you name anyone?
I don't think there's an. I don't think there is. There an answer to this, or
No,
is
I
this
don't know.
a
It's a
rhetorical?
question.
Okay,
It's a
I was like,
question.
is it?
I'm
Yeah,
sure there
maybe
is an
somebody in the
answer. I
comments.
do have one or two
Stu-
names, but I haven't checked if they have
I was
one.
going to say Stuart McGill, but he won 2003 because
Yeah.
he played
So
instead of
that's yeah,
Wallace.
and that's been my 20 years. So that was a good. I couldn't have remembered that far back.
Hmm.
Between
Great
T20,
question.
ICC,
Faulkner won. He was the man of the match in 2015. Aaron Finch has won
a
the
T20 World
2020
Cup.
and the World Cup in 2015.
Yeah,
Anyone who's played for any decent length of time, right? You mean?
yeah. The name I had was like a Peter Hanscom or a Jason
Yeah, but
Berendorf.
wo to,
But that's it. Like, can
but
you
they're not.
imagine that we
Yeah,
can't
you're
even
really
think of a
looking. You're really
name
They've all
of
won.
stretching
a.
like
They've all
Jason
won.
Krejci
Yeah,
and
we
like
can't. No, I don't know,
Nathan
but they
Horrocks
have to
type.
have played in a World Cup.
Mm.
But anyway, that was just an interesting
Yeah, but they
question.
won 2003, 2007,
Yeah, has
2015.
Osman won?
They
Has
won.
Osman lifted? Yeah, he did.
They won 5 of the
Yeah.
last 7
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
ODI World Cups.
And by the
Anyway,
way, in a week, India will still be talking about this. They'll be moved on to some other sport. They're just a big sporting nation. It's
I mean,
not that they're
Marsh
not
had put
deserving.
he was resting his feet on the trophy, so
Can you
I don't even know
imagine
if
if an
it's
Indian
relevant
player
to
did
them
that?
today. But yeah,
the world at his feet, man. That's what he
All right,
was
DJ,
saying
I
in the
have to
message.
ask you, right? 20. So as we look at the calendar from here, I think Varun has said Rohit he doesn't expect to play. I think the question mark will be when does he step down as skipper to avoid causing turmoil and set up kind of a legacy, right? So 2024 T20 World Cup, 2025 is the Champions Trophy, and then 7 will be the next ODI World Cup, which I think is South Africa. What is the path for Virat? Right? Like there was a moment yesterday where I was like, I can imagine Virat just saying, I'm done with white ball cricket. I don't need.
What
I
more
can't
can
do
you
this
do?
anymore.
You
After
score the
50
most
ODI
number of runs.
centuries, yeah.
50 ODI hundreds. I think so. Kohli will. I think Rohit. So I was looking up this morning what Rohit's birthday is to find out how old he'll
April
be
of 87.
in
right?
2027 because it is heartbreaking to see
Yeah.
one of the ODI greats not have an ODI World Cup win. He has a T20 World Cup win, which Virat doesn't have actually. So he won it in 2007 with the team as a youngster. He didn't make the 2011 squad, hasn't won it since. Virat's won the ODI World Cup. So I would like to see Rohit manage one more, but I don't know if his body has it in him. He'll be 39. It would be, I don't know whether we'd be able to carry two 39-year-olds to the 2027 World Cup. That said, it is in Zimbabwe, Namibia, and South Africa. And if there's one person who can play the short ball in this team, it is Rohit Sharma. So watch that space. It might happen, but planning for 2027 starts today, guys. I don't know if Iyer is going to be in that conversation. Fast, bouncy pitches. He needs to prove himself in on those tracks. There will be questions asked around it. He can't be flippant like he was in that World Cup semi-final. There will be real testing questions that will be asked of him in Australia, South Africa, and other bouncing tracks. Where else are we going to come up short? Gill, I think, is going to be in that team.
Yeah. I was going to
With
say,
Virat,
you can
if he's going to,
you can keep going down the list.
Yep.
Shami at 37 is probably not going to make it.
Right,
Jadeja 38 might from a fitness standpoint, but probably not, to be honest. So
is Jadeja 38 already?
he's 34.
No, he's
so I'm
the same
adding
age as
4.
Kohli, isn't
I'm
he?
adding
Oh, yeah,
4
okay,
to
yeah.
everybody, right? So
Yeah,
Shami will
okay,
be
got it,
37.
got it, got
Jadeja
it.
will be 38.
Bumrah should. He's 33 in 4 years.
Yeah. So Varun, what do you think? Do you think half this team is going to be different in 2027? And
yeah.
subpart to that question, is there this crazy premium now on all-rounders for coming out of the Indian ranks?
Yeah, there will be. If you think about Australia's 2023 side and India's 2011 side, they're quite similar. And it shows you what depth and all-rounders can do. So I think you are going to have a premium on somebody like a Washington Sundar. He's got to fix himself up. He's got to make himself less injury prone and get in that team because he is going to be an all-format player.
We need Hardik Pandya to be fit, and we need a backup for Hardik Pandya that is pushing Hardik Pandya for his place.
Yeah, I think you can argue between Akshar and Sundar and these guys. We have some options who can spin and bat. We don't have any options who can bowl 10 overs.
But you
or
don't
even
need
6 to 7
spin
quick
in
options.
South Africa.
That's what I mean. You need 6 or
You
7
need-
quick overs and batting.
You need a good Shardul Thakur.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Whew, it's been a lot. It's been a lot to unpack. We can talk about a million different things. DJ,
One more
looks
thing.
like you have something to add.
Dravid.
Yeah, where does Dravid go
Dravid.
from here? I forgot sort of that he was an interim appointment. So officially his stint is over, right?
So I made the controversial suggestion that maybe we should get an Australian coach, and Varun
Hmm.
showed me his slipper, which was obviously Greg Chappell.
Chappal.
But Greg Chappell got results after he left. 2007, you win a World Cup, and he was the one pushing Dhoni. Came in under his watch. Yes, you only remember the Ganguly saga of it, but to professionalize cricket, there's a winning mentality that they have, and we are not lacking in skill, talent, resources. There is, it's taking that final step. Get, I don't know, get Ricky Ponting and get. I mean, I would have said Shane Warne, poor guy, isn't around to enjoy this. I have to say, but like, I mean, get somebody who can deliver that final step. This is not a team that lacks in talent.
Hmm.
This is not a team that lacks in, I don't know, skill and resource. It, the thing that we miss is that killer instinct, that stepping up to the plate at the last, which gets you to the winner's podium. I wouldn't say it's a winning mentality. I know, I don't know. Maybe we just need a corporate CEO to come in and streamline everything. Maybe that doesn't work in sport, but I don't know. Getting VVS Lakshman in, who's and
Hmm.
great player, never won an ICC trophy.
But 281.
Get MS Dhoni in. Get somebody in that can get us a trophy, because this heartbreak is just it's too familiar for us. Like 6-2 now is too many World Cups between us and Australia. 5-3 it should have been.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Get
mean,
Gambhir in. I don't know. He's won IPLs. He's won a World Cup. He scored a 97 in a World Cup. Get killer
Yeah,
instinct.
yeah.
you need that. You need somebody with that mindset. Like it would have been better to be in 210 all out, but Sky having gone for it versus what we put
And
up.
put slips in. Lose 36 overs.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
drag it to 40
exactly.
overs?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, listen,
Oof.
there's a lot to unpack, like we said, right? It's been both fun and a little more painful, to be honest, reliving this with you guys. Usually after a loss, it's cathartic to relive it with you. I think because this wasn't such a crushing blow, and we didn't get to bitch and moan about specific performances and specific people and umpiring and this and that, it made it harder, right? Like, I mean, we didn't. Right? There was not, we lost because they were the better team on the day. So, I mean, what's left to say? Congratulations to Team Australia. A huge congratulations to Rohit and the team as well. An unbelievable run, finished second best. Uh, I mean, top wicket taker, top run scorer. But let me just quickly ask you, what is left to say to Virat then, right? What do you do if you're Virat Kohli at this point? It feels a little like Sachin 2003 holding that player of the tournament trophy, saying, "I don't care about this one bit."
Yeah, I would say go home to where you belong in the IPL and make a difference there. Like that's your
But he
only
can't even
thing
win
left.
that.
He
Yeah,
that
but
is
he
the
will
RCB
get.
fans
only
are
He
like,
will
you've prepared
make
us
a
for 15
change.
years like this.
Like I think
come to
we
Delhi and win
need
the
more
IPL.
hope, right? That's what we need. Like we need Virat to move to Delhi, the Delhi capital, and just believe for the next 10 years.
S-
And
So we
that's
should
Hashtag
it.
just get
believe.
Justin Langer to piss off the Australians.
So just
Hire
interestingly,
Justin
Justin
Langer and
Lang.
Andy Flower.
So Justin they didn't win anything under Justin Langer, right?
They got an
They
Amazon
won
Prime
the
Video
Ashes,
contract, I
right?
think.
Yeah, that they won,
So
but
they won
I
that
don't think
bit.
anyone was bidding for that. But
They
no,
won
but
everyone's hearts.
no, but it's amazing
They
how
lost everybody's hearts under Langer, boss.
yeah they lost. In fact, when Langer left, like Pat Cummins was like a big middle finger to all the ex cricketers, all like the way you stood up for your mate, I'm standing up for mine.
They
But
won the. So somebody's pointed out in the chat, 2021 T20 World
I
Cup was
don't
won
think he
under
was
Langer,
under
the
and then he
Langer
got
coach,
fired.
boss. He was
was
Yeah.
he was not the T2020 coach, was he? Anyway, discussion for another day. DJ, I know you and I got to get back to work. This feels weird getting to kind of normalcy of life. 6.5 weeks of World Cup cricket. I woke up, my eyes opened at like 3 in the morning just to check the score, and I was like, oh, there's nothing to check anymore. So we'll take some time off. I think we'll take at least next week off for those of you who listen and look for us in your feed every week. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun, but we also put out a lot of episodes, so we're going to take it next week off. It
It's
has
just
just been
emotionally drained.
it's just emotionally draining. There's nothing else to it. That's all I can say. As we kind of wrap up, Varun's reminding me, I should give a quick fantasy update, even though I was
of
trying to
course
avoid it.
there's a reason why I'm reminding you.
Yeah. So in the Edison Sledges Fan League, the winner was a team called I Am Vishal Pujari. Great names. 23,284 points. So Varun, only about 900 ahead of you. Second place was Kenji Nosferatu. Third place was Snowstalker. Fourth was Sanid's Mavericks. I don't know why I have the responsibility of reading out all these team names every time. In fifth place,
Yeah.
Varun. This may
Yeah.
be your best results ever. And DJ in 12th place.
Yeah. It just DJ, like, he was like India. He kind of thought he's getting close.
Oh, Vishal Pujari is in the YouTube chat, by the way. That's why he sent a message, or he or she, whoever they are. I've sent him, I'm assuming from Vishal, but
Vishal is
Fantasy
probably
League
a
discussion
man.
question mark. So congratulations, Sai. That's phenomenal. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic result. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for sending in that comment. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say. There's a lot of comments coming in on YouTube. Rajat Agnihotri, this is a good note to end on. Rajat Agnihotri sent in a whatever these are called. So thank you for your contribution and sending in the comment.
Super chat, super chat.
Super chat.
Keep the super chats also coming.
And I'll read it out and then I'll translate. But Rajat says, message for Rohit. आपने और आपकी टीम ने लोगों का दिल जीता है जो किसी भी वर्ल्ड कप से बढ़कर है. And it doesn't sound like Varun totally agrees. DJ does. DJ and I think both do. The translation for our non-Hindi speakers is you and your team have won people's hearts, and that is bigger than a World Cup. I'm going to mute Varun's line so he can't say anything to respond to that. This has been fun. Guys, 6.5 week World Cup. It's been fun. It's been painful. It's been exciting. There's been hope and optimism. There's been small spurts of depression. 3-day break, then we come back and play some meaningless bilateral T20s against Australia. Next thing I'm looking forward to is our tour of South Africa. It'll be fun to see our quicks take on their quicks in South African conditions. I'm excited about it. We will preview that at some point. Like I said, quick reminder, we'll probably take one week or so off and be back maybe in a couple of weeks' time. We will figure it out. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, at One Tip One Hand on all the socials. Send us in your messages. We love seeing them, by the way. All of you who sent us tweets and Instagram messages about waiting for this episode, just please send them in. We'd love to see them. It's what keeps us going. Thank you, everybody, for living through the heartbreak of the 23 World Cup final with us. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. This is the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast signing off.